Hello there, it's Jeff here, Application Specialist for Excitech, and today I'm going to have a look at Inventor 2020, the new version of Inventor, which is also 20 years old. And my first impressions very good. I quite like the interface now. There's been a lot of work on the interface of Inventor. It's a lot more streamlined, I think, much more clearer as it is a workflow process, and that's actually quite nice. So first things first, if we have a look at some of the icons here, you'll see that the interface now, the color schemes are a little different, a little bit lighter than has previous been here. So for example, if we look at the themes now, we have this one which is the light theme there that is available now. So we have a browser down here on the left as per normal. We have the little plus sign now and expands in the entries on the browser. We can also see that we actually have 3 new presets. One for performance and one for balanced. In other words, it's a little bit better on the visual, and it's okay for performance of your graphics card. And if we move up to the high quality, we get a nice visual in the high quality, giving us much more depth in the geometry. They have introduced a different ground plane, so if I picked on the ground plane here, you can see now that the ground plane is a little bit better than the previous ground plane. We actually have an axis there, and if I move around, you'll see that it's actually quite nice interface now. We've got really nice view in there. So one of the other areas where we do actually see just on a visual point of view is if I come over to this particular view here on this steel cylinder here, if I was actually to create any threads on here, you can click on thread, you'll see that the new features are starting to come up in a different type of little dialog box. So this particular one here, I can pop this on here and you can see that introduces the thread onto here. I click on OK. You'll see that the introduction there, the visual style is a little bit better than it was in previous versions. If I jump back into the part I was looking at a moment ago, you'll also see that as I hover around here, you can see that the surfaces are now shaded in the green color. I think this is a great improvement as before, because what was happening, it was just being shaded on the white on the edge, and sometimes we would miss the surface. I think this is actually well required, this particular interface now. So that's essentially some of the areas on the interface. What I'll do now is have a look at some little more features, particularly in parts and assemblies. Another aspect of the interface is now that we can actually have multiple monitors, it gives us the opportunity to actually move a view into another monitor. For example, if I have this part open here, I can actually just drag and move the window out and put it onto another monitor. That's actually quite useful. I quite like that, especially if you've got dual monitor systems. So as a little proviso there on the interface, I think that's actually also very useful. An enhancement that's in the part files is actually the opportunity to use an unwrap. Here you can see a shape I've created here, and we could utilize the shape, find out the shape of this by clicking on this fella here, which is the unwrap. The unwrap then gives us this dialog box. Like I say, it's just exactly the same as the new dialog boxes as well for the extrude and some of the other tools. And you can see that it's asking me to select faces, and there's a little blue line underneath there saying that's the one that's got to be done. So if I select a face here like this now, you can see that this is showing up, how many faces it's found, and this gives you the result. And you can see that this particular result actually also gives us some stress values here. In other words, when this is bent around in these areas, this is more stressful, and so on. So as a simple idea, it's really great to have an unwrap. So I'll click on OK there. We've got an unwrap here. Can select that and look at that, straight onto that, and see what we have. For example, there I've got this surface. So this actually can go into a drawing. It can also go into a CNC machine as a shape. I think that's very useful as well. Moving further on with the parts, here's a particular item I quite like with the sweep command now, where we can actually sweep a solid. And for that, what I've done is created just a simple cylinder here, representing, basically it's going to represent a spindle for a staircase, so that we can actually create a barley twist effect in the timber. And for that I'm going to use this solid I created here. So if we move over to the sweep command now, the sweep command, once again the dialog box is consistent to the newer versions. We can see that we can select a solid here. Either solid sweep is off, or in fact I just turned it on. I want it to be on because I want to select a solid object to sweep round, not necessarily a profile. So I'll select the solid there. Gives me the blue line under here asking for my path, so I'll click on the path there, has a think about it for a moment, and then we will actually have the geometry around there. Here we have it. So we've actually swept the solid around there. Now down here we've got an option here, because this is red. It's basically saying, what am I doing? Am I adding it to something? Am I taking it away from something? Well, I particularly in this occasion I want to take it away, or cut it away from that cylinder. So if I select the cylinder now, you can see that I have all of the options are OK. Allow me to click OK on there. So hopefully we can actually have a very simple barley twist type idea of a staircase spindle. There we have it. Quite a good little idea, to be perfectly honest. I've done this a few times now, and I think that's a really nice little feature actually. I just included these quite colours here so that you could actually see it. Another area in part modelling is when you're extruding from sketches. I'll click on extrude here. The extruding now allows us to pick enclosed lines, but those enclosed lines don't have to necessarily be completely enclosed as one object. As you can see here, I can pick up this one, or this one, and they're actually just two shapes, the square and the circle, but I can pick each one of these enclosed spaces. This is very useful now, I believe. So I can pick on each one of those or all of those. So that actually works out a lot better now with the way that we can work with extrusions. Another area to look at is actually in sheet metal. I've actually created just a little bit of sheet metal part here, just a very simple folded part, but I've also put a plane here representing the mirror, because now we're able to not only just mirror the object, but if I click on mirror here, I can select the component I want to mirror, and also then select the mirror plane. I can pick over the mirror plane here. But what's important for us here is actually not only will it mirror the relationships, but we also have the opportunity here to link the sheet metal styles. In other words, the rules that we make in this are followed over into the new part. So if I click on next here, you see then it actually creates a new mirrored part in here. So it's a separate IPT, completely separate new ITP component, which is understanding the sheet metal rules. So I'll click on OK there. Here we have a very simple part here. So if I come over to here to save this, you would see that I actually have a new part in here, so I can click yes to all and OK that. So that's very useful there as a part in sheet metal. An area I'm finding very useful now within the frame generator is the quicker way where we can miter these joints together here. So for example, what I've done here, I just inserted some frame in here, same as we have done before. I picked the family, etc., the size, and I placed that on the edges, on the lines. That's coming from an end part frame I created as just a sketch. So when we're in the assembly now, and I can use the frame generator, you can see that once I place those items on, I need to do the treatment in the corner. And the miter treatment now, I can click on the miter treatment here. I can actually set up more than 2 options. Normally I could select those 2, but now in the same operation I could actually add in the 3rd one as well. So that will actually configure those components correctly for all 3 to miter in together at that end there. So that's very useful. So, but of course we still have the option of just miter in just straightforward 2 there. That doesn't change. I click on OK there. That doesn't change. It's a simple miter. Over here now we have another option which I quite like, and that is the insert cap. So we're actually creating another component, so I'll click on insert cap here. I can then select the edge that I'm actually putting the cap on. So I've got the face there which I've selected, and we've got placement here. So for example, I can click on this one to have the cap over it like that, or cap inside it like that. And the profile, we can have chamfered corners like this, and the chamfer is listed up here, and thickness is here, and so on. So these items here are rather good, so I can click on OK. That gives me a cap for the part. Pop that there. So that would be the same in that one perhaps. But let's say for example I come down to the feet here. I could actually create an inserted cap on here like this. So this one's going to go on top of it like this, and I'm just going to make it so that it's actually not a chamfered face, it's just got sharp corners on it, and then we can leave it there. So there we have just a cap on the bottom of the feet, which I think is actually quite nice. I think that's really good. That's a good little feature actually, because very often when I've been working with the frame generator, we're forever creating little bits and pieces of fill there for the frames. But yeah, basically, yeah, there you go. That's a little bit on the frame generator. Lastly, I'd like to have a look at the Inventor ReadOnly mode. You'll see the Inventor ReadOnly mode here, coming in here underneath the applications. I've just started it here already, so the interface is very similar to the normal full featured Inventor. But if I look at here, let's open a little file I was working with a moment ago, just to show you that the features here are all available for viewing. So obviously the view tab is very much got a lot of the features of the full version. For example, I can pop there that new ground plane I'm talking about, add in those shadows like this, and you can see certain faces. You know, you can actually look at this face like this and so on. So we can actually manipulate the model round quite significantly, and also we can make some inspection, so I could inspect any sizes from here to here if I wished, and then get the geometry here for the various sizes. So this is a very good option if you don't actually have the license for Inventor, but you want to view the parameters of a file. For example, here you can see we've got various sketches that are available to us. If I come underneath here, this sketch here, for example, if I right click here, make it visible, you can see that the parameters of the sketch are all available in here. So the interrogation of the model, the visibility, and also we can extract certain information. It's all very useful. If you're working with a client and they just installed the read-only version,